Good morning, manredFC back again. It is Saturday the 26th of September and obviously it's match day for Manchester United. Now what I like to do every weekend, I know it might be sad to some of us, is I get up at around 6 or 7 a.m. I go for a little walk, get in my active kind of daily routine and kind of marinate in everything football related. Basically because I don't get a lot of time in the week because work's quite busy. I like to take the weekend to kind of gauge opinions and obviously catch up on all the games, matches, days and things like that. Now today's video is a bit different. It's about probably the media and the punditry side of things, but obviously focused around Manchester United because we all watch the videos about our clubs. And what I like to say is, and the disclaimer is, Manchester United currently are in big trouble. And it's kind of the Titanic, isn't it? So it's been built in Ireland, we've celebrated and we're currently on the voyage. But we can see the iceberg is ahead. We're trying to steer around it, but we're not quite getting the messages to everyone on the boat. So catastrophe is en route. But what I will say is the amount of sensationalism and how fickle opinions of supposed experts are is quite frankly embarrassing. So I was watching a video today, I think it's the Premier League show, I might be wrong, apologies if it wasn't. And so-called pundits, expert pundits, ex-pros, very good ex-pros on there, talking about basically the state of Manchester United. And we can all agree at the minute it is a state. That's a very good word for it. And you can understand why it's a hot topic. Biggest club in England, it generates clicks, people want to hear about it. And let's not forget, how do presenters retain their jobs? They keep talking about it, don't they? They keep going over their opinions, they keep changing their opinions, they want to get views. Says the man doing a YouTube video. And I was just shocked by what I was listening to. First and foremost, they were talking about how Ollie is to blame. And it's Ollie's fault, he's not a good enough coach, he never should have been appointed. Now these same pundits, I remember, were very, very, very pro Ollie at the start, before it tanked. And then recently after lockdown saying we need to give him time and backing. Now, so far in the transfer window, he's had one player, sold none, and we've lost the first game, albeit very poorly. And they've now changed their tact to being, well, he's not a good enough manager. He's not a Pep, he's not a Klopp. You're not going to be able to attract the top players like they can. He's not going to be banging on Ed Woodward's door like they would. And you're thinking, would they? And I was watching it going, how can you have any integrity when you're changing your opinion on things? So what was fascinating to see is that they're talking about Ollie. Before they said they needed to give him time, they've given him one match. They had 1 week of training, no new players in. Let's not forget Donny van der Beek is not an upgrade necessarily on the squad yet, although I think he will displace Paul Pogba. And they're still saying things like he's not quite good enough. Now, they then said, if you put Klopp in the team as coach, Pep at Manchester United as coach, we would do markedly better. Excuse me, how? How is that? Pep at Manchester City has spent absolutely millions on players. Unbelievable coach, wonderful manager, deserves all the respect he gets. But the sheer hypocrisy and unintelligence of suggesting that putting a manager that likes spending money on the best players into his team, coming into a team and club that like to look at their bottom line, are they going to match? No, like Jose Mourinho. Is Pep a better coach than Ollie? Yes. But to suggest somehow that a Pep coming into Manchester United is going to change us being 30 points off of the top to competing is nonsense. And then they went on to say, oh, you know, we're talking about such high fees for players. They overpay all the time. Yes, we do. And then to mention Klopp and say, we're so impressed at how cheap Liverpool get their players. Look at Thiago Silva for 30 million euros. Yeah, he had a year left and wants to leave Bayern Munich. Wonderful signing. Diego Jota, 45 million, good player. Is he worth that? And then they went on to talk about Van Dijk and Alisson, about no one knew about them under the carpet. Van Dijk went on for 18 months. I think my gran knew about them signing Van Dijk. 75 million FYI. Alisson, 67 million. Are these really cheap, unbelievable, from nowhere signings? No. So you can't use that in a narrative against Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Is 80 million too much from Harry Maguire? God, yes. He's not even rated at 50 million in my opinion. Should never have been signed for that. But we need an upgrade. Bruno, relatively cheap in my opinion. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, well, Pep spent the same on fullback, so run of the mill there. So they haven't overpaid there, have they? What they have done is, as a retention, been appalling. Ed Woodward and Matt Judge have got a lot to answer for. I personally don't want them to remain at the club. Obviously, I don't want the Glazers at the club. But to even suggest that it's the Glazers' fault, that Ed Woodward and Matt Judge sat down with these players and said, do you know what, Phil Jones, I'm going to give you over 100k. Do you know what, Jesse, I'm going to give you over 100k. Luke Shaw, I'm going to give you nearly 200k. Rojo, I'm going to give you over 100k. Romero, nearly 100k. Is anyone looking at this going, well, actually, this might be silly. We might be pricing ourselves out of the market. And it's 7-8 years later and you're thinking, has anyone improved? Well, clearly not. I like Marcus Rashford. Is he worth 250 grand a week? No. Is Martial worth 200? No. So why are we still making the same mistakes? What happens if Marcus Rashford or Martial fall off a cliff in 2 years' time and everyone's going, oh, they're terrible players. We can't sell them because they're on so much money. Why aren't we doing more incentive-based contracts like Tottenham? Anyway, I digress. But just moving back to the media, I find it so farcical at how quickly they judge people. These are ex-pros that they themselves said sometimes it was harsh. You'd have to forget the background noise. You are now the background noise. You need to be setting an example for the rest of us, myself included, as to how fans view football. Because everyone just jumps on a bandwagon. There's ITKs coming out the woodwork. No one really knows what's going on. The amount of stories I've read are probably in the thousands about who we're signing. We've signed no one. And yet people keep jumping on, oh, he must be telling the truth now because it's a new tweet. Bollocks. It's not. But these pundits really irritate me. Was it Emiliano or someone, Chelsea's technical director? Sorry if I got the name wrong. They went on to say he's won 3 Premier Leagues. Well, no, he hasn't. He's won 2. And then they went to talk about all the players he's brought in and how much of a technical director would really, that's what Manchester United need to do. How can you blame Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when he's got owners that won't release ultimate unlimited funds? He's got a CEO above him that's a terrible negotiator with no background in football who will not appoint a sporting director to help him out. And then you have the audacity to say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to be sacked. Are you not listening to the words you are saying? You can't praise Chelsea for having a technical director, by the way, spouting the wrong information. You need to have a bit of responsibility because people will listen to that. Okay? And then, in the same hand, say, well, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's not doing well enough. Well, hang on. Frank Lampard finished lower than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last season. So why has Frank Lampard suddenly got any more time? Because he's got players in the fucking door. How's Ole? No. Is Ole the best manager in the world? No. Do I think Ole's going to take us to a Premier League title? Probably not. But he's not been backed properly. We all know he hasn't. So no one in their right mind should be saying Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. No one. No pundits, no fans. Certainly not ones that pre the summer were saying, well done, Ole. How fickle are you? It's nonsense. What if Poch comes in? Oh yeah, we love Poch. He'll probably say to Ed, I need these 2 players. Ed will go get them. Poch will get 2nd or 3rd or 4th, and then Ed will go, right, let's tighten that purse. Carry on, Poch. Then what? Where do we go? Nagelsmann? Ancelotti? The sad reality is that if you've got better players, the performances are going to be better. If you've got worse players, your players are going to be worse. The coach can help that. They can put together a system, and I completely agree. Ole, so far in his United tenure, has not shown anyone that he's going to win a Premier League or a Champions League. But we're not that club at the moment. United fans need to realise quickly, myself included, I got really excited and I was saying, do you know what, we need to improve on last season. And we do. But we are miles off winning a title. And that's not going to change by appointing any manager, full stop. That will change by changing the complete squad depth. We've got, 31 players that we can register in a 25-man squad? Ole's having to come out and say, well, it's not my responsibility to keep everyone happy. The club needs to get rid of these players. What are you doing? Why are you wasting time with 2 or 3 million? What do you think these players are doing in the squad? Negativity, spreading negativity. There's not that buoyant mood. We can't bring in new players because we can't sell them. It's a complete structure issue. It's a complete organisational issue. And sadly, Ollie's been thrust in the middle and said, here you go, lead everyone. Take on the Sir Alex Ferguson role because we're not appointing a technical director. So you can do it all. And by the way, if we lose, you're probably going to get sacked, mate. So we need to quickly realise, the media included, to deal with the real issue first. And that is the club structure and the Glazers. There needs to be more focus on it. Nothing's going to change. Everyone always goes, oh, you know, we need to stop buying merchandise. That's irrelevant. That's never going to happen because there's so many fans. What's there, over 600 million fans? Even if you get 1%, 6 million fans to not buy merchandise, it's not going to make much of a difference. Certainly not enough of a difference for the Glazers to want to leave and go, oh no. We make a vast sum of money. It's never going to drop because English football's so big and our brand is so vast. The Glazers will only go if they see fit, and that'll be either they've had enough of it or they can get a good amount of money for it. Nothing we do will make a difference. And that's sad, but true. I think fans need to realise that now and stop getting so angry about what's going on. Obviously, as soon as I stop this video, I'm going to be buzzing for the game and hoping that we beat Brighton, obviously, and be really excited for that. But I've just completely realigned what I expect. And I find it really uncomfortable now to be really negative about Ollie, because his ability as a coach is far removed from the problems we have at this club. When you've got 10 players in a squad that won't even get in the top half of the Premier League, earning more than the top 10% in the league, you've got a problem. You've removed that driving factor, financial gain, it's gone. We overpay people. You haven't got a happy balanced squad because it's overinflated. There's too many of them. A lot of them want to leave. We've got underperformers. And because they're at such a big club, they haven't got time to find their feet. And we're relying on too many young players. And we've got a new coaching staff and manager that need the best support they could ever have from anyone. You could put the best structure above them and they may still fail. Yet we're asking them without the structure above them to succeed at the biggest club in the world with the most amount of scrutiny on it on a daily basis. I think this season might show us exactly where the club is, because Ollie, as we know as United fans, will always do the best for us. And if he still can't get it right, then I think that goes to show that the people above him don't really care. And that's what my belief's been all along. But like one of my friends, that's just because he likes to give a lot of patience for things to work out, he's finally lost it. He's finally drew a line and said, I'm done. But I think it's one of those. And to kind of move it back to the original point, the media need to be more responsible for this. You cannot. How can you jump on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? You all say that clubs need to sign players. We aren't signing them. Is that Ollie's fault? Do you honestly think he's given Ed a list and gone, I'd like these 6, but if you can't get any, don't worry about it. We'll get Andreas Pereira to fill in. No. So you can't judge completely against your own belief of what makes success. Doesn't make sense. There are agendas everywhere. Stop it. Let's wait for 10 or 15 matches. If we've signed 2 or 3 players, then great, we should be doing better. If we haven't, and he suddenly dropped us to 8th or 10th, yeah, there's a new conversation there, isn't there? Because this squad, for my money, probably now is around 5th or 6th without signings anymore. If Ollie's dropping lower than that, then that's when you talk about the manager. But after one game, you're having a laugh. Absolute nonsense. Anyway, what's the time? 4 minutes until the coverage starts. I'm going to go and watch Manchester United. I hope we win, because I've had what was meant to be a really positive morning. It's tired me out already. So again, thanks for watching. I'm sorry if that was a very unstructured rant about all the things going on, but it just irritates me. Why can't people just be a bit more level-headed? Especially when you're in a responsible position, when you're on quite highly sought after and highly viewed media sources. It's just nonsense. Anyway, I'll let you go. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again later. Bye-bye.